Yo, it's the governor. How you guys doing? I'm here to bring the first lesson of the unspoken magical effects of sex. This first lesson, SID, is sex is a desire. Now, as we have spoken about in the introduction, we know as sex is the physical manifestation of a want or a desire that the player has. Like he is in a state where he wants to enjoy whatever moment that he is in by feeling it with his physical body and manifesting his God power in hopes to reproduce something. Now, we must look at what a desire is. A desire is defined as a strong feeling of wanting to have something or wishing for something to happen. So this physical manifestation, this feeling, when you think about it, like the process that the player goes through to get that feeling, he's chasing a desire. There's a strong wanting for this feeling that culminates in an orgasm, a releasing of his God power. The releasing of the God power is like receiving the trophy of achieving that desire. If you think about it, a player may want to release his God power after celebrating a good deed, or he might want to release his God power after a hard day's work. It's pent up in him and he wants to release his God power in a way that makes him feel good in a vessel that will receive it. Now, I have to use the word vessel because, as we know, there's players out there who are having sex with things that aren't Eves. So everything is not, in the sense of thinking with the big head, a woman. Now, how the player releases the God power will be investigated, but all of those methods in which a player wants to release his God power are just physical manifestations of what's in his head. Like a player chooses to have sex doggy style for a reason. It feels better, but why does he think that he can do it that way? And why does he like to do it that way? And what can happen from him doing it that way? Like, there are things that take place in that whole desire and what it can lead to further, and where maybe that came from. Because those are just actions that are linked to a want. I want to do it that way. Well, why do you want to do it that way? I don't know. Yes, you do. Like, we will investigate. Like, that's why when there's the answer I don't know comes about, because the secrets are unspoken. But what we will be doing in this talk is actually pulling the covers back and taking a look. Where did this desire come from? Because what we understand is that depending upon the player, the situation, the God power may be strong. The intention may be strong. And so when this this God power is exerted and placed in a vessel, we learn that it doesn't go anywhere. It stays. And what it actually does is it grows because it's a seed. The sperm, the GP, it's a seed. It's your God seed. What is your God? It's your ability to reproduce your genetic, your DNA. Excuse me for not using the proper context. It is your nature, and it is your intention. Because the vessel changes. See, after you feed the vessel the God power, depending upon the strength and the intensity and the situation, see, that seed is absorbed in the land, may be fertile. It may grow. And then the desire causes the release of more God power, and it feeds and it changes things. It changes the vessel. It changes the player. Because what we start to understand, especially in the next lesson, and I'm only going to speak on it briefly, is that to have sex in the most when we go back to where it was first spoken in the context of thinking with the big head, we look at the Bible as a source. We look at the first time that sex is spoken of is between Adam and Eve, and it was said to know one another. What does it mean to know something? There's to know, it means that you're familiar with it. But we know that players are having sex with things that they are not familiar with. And so what is happening? What type of desires are being planted and received and fed on without second thought? But what we start to see is these desires take over the vessel and changes the vessel. Well, the vessel may soon or may be a bestower. So the desire spreads and it grows. But how does this happen? It's because the God power is being planted in certain ways and in certain places that are fertile. Because you have to look at what's going on here. If the best example is horticulture, when you think of how farmers plant seeds, depending upon the fruit, the type of fruit, how many how many they want to produce as compared to how big they want them to be, and then depending upon what the land allows. Okay, so you have a man who's the farmer planting seeds in land. What is the land? The body of a vessel. And so when the vessel receives these seeds, they change the vessel. So I want you to really think about what it is that I'm saying. So if the God power is placed, let's say, in the mouth, okay, like it's a seed, but it's not just any seed. It's like just think of a superfruit, the superfruit of superfruit. If you ate the superfruit of superfruit, how would it affect your body? Okay, and if you continue to eat the superfruit of superfruit, how would it affect your body? Okay, now imagine if you could take the superfruit and eject it into an orifice that went throughout the body, i.e., a vagina, or as we will talk about later on, the anus. These things are like sponges that take things into the body. Like you can take medication through the anus and it goes throughout the body. As women know, things go in the vagina and it can go spread throughout the body. So what we will start to learn now, if the God power is placed in a very, very fertile land, as in a state of innocence, this strong desire could change the innocence. And what then happens as this desire is planted and then it grows in this fertile land, that changes the thing. Because what we have to look at is that this desire makes people want to live towards fulfilling it because it grew. How did it grow? It was fed. So what we also have to look at is how this desire can be hidden, in the sense of, let's say a player goes to celebrate with a woman and he gets familiar and mates with this woman in the celebration period. He and her, like, he doesn't know her, and yet he plants this seed in her that can change like everything, like his whole, because